What an inspiring journey we have ahead of us today. She was hit by a school bus and is also a breast cancer survivor. She never gave up, and she will teach you to not do so as well. Being born and raised in the Navy, she traveled all over the place. She went to school at the New York Institution of Nutrition, and this led her to creating a 5-step program to bring the body back to homeostasis. She moved to Florida to start her holistic journey, and this is how I met today's guest. I had the opportunity to appear on a radio show with Dawn Reese in Clearwater, Florida, and I met Carrie in the lobby after my show was over. She also has her own show called Living a Healthy Lifestyle, so we'll have mental health value coming from many angles. Carrie, before we get going, I'd love to ask, what does mental health mean to you?
I believe it's a positive attitude. I believe it's waking up and seeing that I'm blessed every day and that I have so many things to be blessed for, being hit by that school bus and going through what I went through in 2020 during the time of COVID. I went through all this. So mental attitude is everything. The battlefield is in the mind. We have the choice to choose whether or not we want to go with the bad thoughts that we get in our minds. We know how to shut those off, but a lot of people just get stuck in that. So I really believe that mental health is huge. It's part of your whole attitude. It's just part of everything. And if you're not in a good mindset, then try to get yourself in a good mindset. Try to start your day off where you're reading something positive. I went through a series of getting rid of toxic relationships out of my life. Just changing a whole lot of things in my life. But mindset is my very first step in my program that I teach people.
I love it. I can't agree with you more. The right mindset can help propel you in directions you didn't think was possible. And with a poor mindset, unfortunately, not much is possible. That is a preview of the positivity we have headed our way today. So welcome back to a mental health break. It is once again time to talk all things mental health. This is the show where we destigmatize mental health and let you know that you are not alone. My name is Vincent A. Lanci, and I am the author of the books Mental Health Week and Mr. Lanci Talks Mental Health. You can learn more about those books on Amazon and more about me at Vincent A. Lanci on all social media and YouTube. If it's your first time joining us, each week I sit down with a mental health advocate or professional from around the world to help you on your journey. We all have a different why relating to mental health, and my why came after I suffered a traumatic brain injury, or you may have heard of as a TBI.
Mm-hmm.
We will learn today's guest why in just a moment. Before I bring her on, I would love to share that this episode is brought to you by Tampa Counseling and Wellness, dedicated to helping individuals who are looking to positively transform their lives through compassionate counseling and wellness coaching. If you struggle with depression, anxiety, or other mental health issues, give them a call today for a free consultation. Tampa Counseling and Wellness, therapy that inspires change, and you can go ahead and scroll down in the show description to find their website and phone number. As I mentioned, it's no surprise to everyone listening on if you know my journey that I met today's guest through networking. As I touched on, I met her in Clearwater, and thank you, Dawn, again, if you're listening on, for having me on your show. I stuck around for a few minutes after, and grateful I did because I realized how much Carrie has to offer to the world of mental health. Remember, we all have a story to share, and if we share ours, you never know how much you can help someone. Mindset, water, nutrition, exercise, and sleep. These are the areas today's guest is passionate about and will focus on. And of course, we're going to learn things like circulation, magnetic therapy, light frequency patches. I try to bring you guests who teach you something each show, and today we will do just that. Carrie K. Davis, thank you so much for joining our show.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. Would you mind giving our audience a little more of an intro to who you are before we talk all things mental health?
Oh, sure. I'm Carrie K. Davis. I was born and raised in California, but I've lived in like 15 different states, including 3 states overseas. So I was a Navy brat, brought up very into very, very heavy religion, but learned about God and kept running towards the Lord and running towards my journey and my destination. And it took a long time to get here, but I moved to Florida and I had a plan. I moved from Des Moines, Iowa, after my first husband passed away. So in 2007, I lost my first husband, and that started me on a 7-year journey, but I was also in the dark, basically. I couldn't figure out how to get out of it. I was drinking and I was doing, just like, partying and just trying to forget that he died. And I just wasn't there for 7 years. I was really going through a hard time. But I made a plan to move to Florida. And I remarried for the second time, only to find out that my husband had, screwed around on me. So that brought me to Florida. So even the tragedies that we go through, the things that we go through, we have to look at them as blessings. And so the reason I tell my story that way is because I see them as blessings now. I see them as a journey that I had to walk through the last 14 years of my book that I'm going to be writing, Living a Healthy Lifestyle. And about 2 years ago, when I moved here, I started a show, or 3 years ago, I started a show on Facebook, right? I just, just wanted to talk to people, wanted to get communication, meet a bunch of people, because I was alone here in Florida without anybody. I didn't know anybody. I had no idea, what I was going to do. I had to recreate myself, right? Because I was in a new place. And so fast forward a little bit towards 2020, when I got hit by the school bus. That was devastating. And I had some holistic things happen where I tried to heal my own body with mind, body, spirit. So my mental attitude was like, I'm already healed in the name of Jesus. I'm already healed. And I would say that over and over and over again. In fact, I had little Post-it notes all over my RV that I was living at the time that says, I am healed in the name of Jesus. Now, I never went in and got diagnosed. I don't really believe in that. I had some tests done. There was a mass found when I got hit by the school bus. And that turned everything around for me, because I ended up getting involved with magnetic therapy. And I'm working with people with magnetic therapy. It took a fishbone out of my foot. So I ended up not having to have surgery, which is $15,000. And that was when I discovered why I was here. Why was I here in Florida? To start over, to start a holistic life plan, to live a healthy lifestyle.
Well, you're definitely an inspiration. And again, I want to thank you for the courage to share your story. And it is hard to see the light in such terrible times at the moment. But as you mentioned, there are a ton of learning lessons in each situation. So thank you for explaining it that way. It is very appreciated by our audience. You mentioned the downward spiral, Carrie. What exactly were you going through? Was it depression, anxiety? Please share with our audience.
Well, in 2020, we were all going through depression and anxiety of what the world was going to be like, and what we were walking into a whole new matrix. And, as I'm writing about in my book, I cannot believe that all the stuff that we went through, but I believe that we look at those things as good blessings, that I was able to go through school during COVID, even though I was depressed, and there was so much going on. And it was uncertainty. I held on to God. I tell you that. I could tell you that much. Yes. I really did. I wrote a letter to him and I said, Lord, I said, please help me through this hard time. I said, I don't want to be sick anymore. And I wrote him this letter. I said, why do I have to be sick? And I said, in the name of Jesus, I'm not sick anymore. And the next day I wasn't sick anymore. So, the depression had lifted. And so we have to believe, and then we have to see it. We have to see ourselves healthy. And then we can jump into that. Wow, I see myself healthy. Even if you're not healthy, you have to see yourself that way. And so that's what I had to do to get through all of what I went through. And it was very, very difficult. I was alone. I left my family in Iowa left all my friends of 22 years, started completely over. Took me 40 years to get back to the beach because I'm a California girl, and I put a poisoned fish bone in my foot. So, and then I ended up having, but then I saw the magnetic therapy, which is the beamer. It's bioelectric magnetic energy regulation. So what that is a fancy word for blood flow and circulation. Blood flow and circulation is huge, right? So if we could get our blood flow for up to 12 hours with an 8-minute session, if we could do that, I have an 88-year-old that couldn't get in his bed to sleep. He had to sleep on a wooden floor. He was doing his house and his back went out. He ended up having to sleep on the floor because he couldn't get in his bed. He's getting in his bed now because of holistic ways that people are using, like magnetic therapy. You know, just like the fishbone came out of my foot because of that magnet that pulled it to the bottom of my foot, kept me from having a $15,000 surgery. I'm helping people get in their bed again. And that may not sound, you know, really huge to you, but it is to people, right?
When you're at a certain place and you're so far back from your normal routines, things we take for granted, like that, having every day, you'd be surprised how long it takes to relearn certain skills. After my accident, when the nurse woke me up, she said, "What school do you go to?" I said Pulaski Elementary School.
I know, I heard your interview and I thought that was really,
so, and then the walking and talking, like we can relate to as well, getting hit by the car, just testaments to never giving up. Did you always want to share your story and talk about mental health advocacy after your accident? When did that really start?
Well, when I started doing Living a Healthy Lifestyle show, I just wanted to reach out and be held accountable to do these 5 steps. I didn't realize I was creating a legacy for someone that a client of mine that would actually be able to work on their mindset first, and then drink lots of alkaline water second, and then get their nutrition third, and then get their exercise fourth, and then sleep. Right? I didn't realize that I was creating all that. That was divine. But I started actually talking about all that 3 years ago. And funny thing is, I ended up on the radio with Dawn at 106.1 Tan Talk Radio. And she gave me that half an hour for Living a Healthy Lifestyle show during COVID. We got kicked off the radio. We didn't have any shows. And so I kept it going every Monday night at 7:00, every Monday. So consistency is the key to being able to get out there and get the message out to people. You've got to be consistent with it.
Thank you for all these lessons.
Takes 13 or 14 times for people to see something before they actually wake up and realize, you know. It's just like with these light therapy patches that I'm using now. I regenerated my whole entire back with light in my body already that God created. So the light therapy patches, they actually eliminate my HGK levels, copper peptide levels, which is kind of a sciencey thing, but your cells start growing again, and it's your stem cells. It's not anybody else's.
Amazing. I look forward to seeing all you accomplish in that regard so I can share it with this audience. What else do you have going on in the world of mental health, Carrie? What else is new?
I'm going to be doing some speaking on my 5-step program. I'm writing a book. I'm actually doing comedy. I'm doing comedy tonight at Russo's with Dawn. We're both on stage. And so that's a lot of fun because I can go out and talk about health. And it's funny. Like I make it funny. You know, I talk to people about their health and, you know, and just funny stuff. So funny stories.
Another great lesson there, mix in some fun. I recently turned 30, and over the last 4 or 5 years, I fully dedicated to my entrepreneurial activities. I have very little social nightlife. I do things during the day. I get a good night's sleep, my exercise, what have you. But now I'm trying to hold more accountability of not just the one day off, even with my reading, not just the business books. I recently picked up If These Walls Could Talk. It's a New York Yankees book about the era when I grew up, about what went on in the dugout and all the players talk. That's something I'm passionate about. So remember, everybody out there, to find a way to smile each day. That itself will improve your mental health. I think it's a great time, Carrie, to get into the Spotlight story. If it's your first show with us, towards the end of each episode, my guest and I go through the mental health story of someone who is famous, because I want to let you, the listeners, know you are never alone. It doesn't matter what someone looks like from the outside. You never know what someone is going through on the inside. And as we have someone who was hit by a car and thrived is back again today, I'll share the journey of another in Gloria Estefan. If you never heard the name, she's a multi-Grammy Award winner who had, as the article describes, a horrific crash, and the horror of a collision left her temporarily unable to walk, and her miraculous recovery for a new talk show, Red Table Talk, The Estefans. I learned that she was napping when an 18-wheeler rear-ended her tour bus, which she says, quote, felt like an explosion and threw her to the floor. Quote, I'm looking around, and it is mayhem, she recalls. Emilio is over me, wild-eyed, screaming, are you okay? He's covered in blood. Now, her mental health challenges that stemmed as a result of this accident. I learned there was some depression involved, and she wrestled with suicidal thoughts, even dating back to her teens. Quote, we as a family have experienced our own brush with mental health in a variety of ways. Noting how this conversation hit home, she was the first one to share her painful memories that she hoped would put into perspective why she thinks talking about mental health is so important. At 15, while she was taking care of her father, who was a Vietnam vet who had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, the conga singer confessed she had suicidal thoughts. What do you take away here, Carrie?
Well, wow. I didn't know that about Gloria Estefan. So that's getting hit by that. That was tragic. Yeah. It just really has a lot to do with, you know, she's actually come out of so much, and she's grown, and I haven't really followed a whole lot of her lately, but you know, we all take our mess and turn it into a ministry somehow, right? Yes. You did it, I'm doing it. People do it, you know, you gotta do it. Like, yes. Why not do it? Why not share the fact that you were hit by a hit and run, right? And you know, and God saved you, so why not share that story?
Once I realized that it was bigger than me, it wasn't just me sharing my story, that it actually does help people. It's so humbling to get reached out from total strangers who hear my stories or read my books and just tell me how it had helped them, how something on my show helped them get through the day. That's always great for me. Obviously, you want to impact as many people as you can positively, but the goal is to always get someone who really walks away with that message. So thank you for that analysis, Carrie. And thank you so much for everything you brought to the show, from humbly sharing your story of how you became everything to never give up. Then we just touched on consistency. All of these things you can do that she spoke about are free. Just hold yourself accountable. How can everybody find you, Carrie?
I'm on social media, Carrie K. Davis. That's CarrieKay Davis on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram on Carrie K. Davis. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Living a Healthy Lifestyle Show. Every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, I'm on 106.1 Tantalk Radio at 3 o'clock with Dawn Reese and the special, her Beauty Queen special. And then Fridays, I'm on the Daily Gospel Network International. So God has put me in a lot of places that I'm feeling very blessed right now. So thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on. Please be sure to email me this link for the YouTube show so I can go ahead and put it in this episode description. I'm sure our audience will love it. And while you're on social media, we are at a mental health break on all social media besides Twitter because of the character limit. We are at Podcasts by Lanci. I am at Vincent A. Lanci on all social media as well as YouTube. And my site is vincentalanci.com. Mental Health Week and Mr. Lanci Talks Mental Health. They're all on Amazon. Level up your mental health today. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next Tuesday on a mental health break. Carrie, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Vincent. Have a good day. God bless.